Hi, this is Melissa with the Stamping Ninja. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a relatively simple sympathy card for you. It is made with the Thoughtful Wishes dies and DSP. It is actually made for the Stampin Fancy Friday challenge that we had this month, the month of November. It was a sketch challenge, so this was our sketch. I had 3 different panels here, something round in the middle, and this is what I came up with for that. So down below this video, you'll have a list of the supplies that I'm using, as well as the measurements for the paper, but I'm going to go over that here with you real quick as well. So what you will need for this one is a piece of basic white, it measures 4 by 5 1/4. That's for the inside. A piece of scrap basic white, a scrap piece of Lost Lagoon. You'll need a piece of Mossy Meadow that measures 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and that is scored at 4 1/4. That is your card base. Another piece of Mossy Meadow that measures 3 by 4 3/8, and then a scrap piece of Mossy Meadow, a scrap piece of Petunia Pop, a piece of wild wheat that measures 2 5/8 by 4, and then you're going to need 2 pieces of the Thoughtful Journey DSP. The first one, I'm just using this yellow print here. It is, what is this one? Okay, sorry, 2 5/8 by 4. They're very similar in sizes. And then the second one, I'm using this floral image, and this one measures 2 7/8 by 4 1/4. And it's actually a piece of this one right here, in case you're looking for it, with the blues and yellows and the Petunia Pop. So the first thing that we're going to do, I'm going to move all these pieces out of the way here. I'm going to fold on that score line and burnish it with your bone folder so that it's nice and crisp there. And what I traditionally do with my cards when I'm doing classes is I always do the inside first, because I inevitably forget to do it. So for this one, you're going to need that basic white piece and your Mossy Meadow ink. And it says, with sympathy. I didn't have a current sympathy sentiment that I liked. So for this one, I'm actually using a retired set. It came from the Special Moments stamp set. It was actually a celebration one last year. So, but I held on to it because it has some great sentiments on it. So whichever one you are using, if you happen to have that stamp set, that's great. If not, just grab something you have on hand. And we're going to stamp our sentiment on this basic white piece here, as soon as I find my ink pad. There we go. So Mossy Meadow. I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to stamp it right in the center, near the top section, about the upper third. Just like so. And then we're going to adhere it to the inside. I'm using Multipurpose liquid glue. It's my favorite glue to use. I like it because it's a little bit forgiving. And if you put it in there a little crooked, you have time to move it around, straighten it up, make sure it's perfect before it dries, unlike the Stampin' Seal. So put that on the inside, so now that we can forget about it, and I don't have to worry about forgetting it. I'm just going to burnish that again. Here we go. All right, next up is the DSP. You're going to need that yellow piece of DSP. This one right here, we're going to adhere it to the bottom part of this card on the front. So again, just putting my glue down. Now that's not to say I don't like Stampin' Seal. I do like it. I use it to attach my ribbons, so I do like it for that. I just don't like it for this purpose because I am a perfectionist, and so I like this gives me a little leeway. There we go. So you want that even on both sides and the bottom edge here. And then next you're going to need that piece of wild wheat. This one right here. You're going to go ahead and sandwich it in the painted texture embossing folder. Now if you don't have this one, you can go ahead and use one that you do have on hand. Really doesn't matter. I just thought this one looked good with the DSP, so sandwich that in there and run it through your machine. And I have cheated. I already have one here. It's nice and textured, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to adhere it to the top portion here. Now this piece should line up perfectly on the top here with even spacing around the sides and the top, just like the bottom one did. Now sometimes when you emboss, it does move the paper a little bit, so there might be little areas that aren't so perfect, but for the most part, it should be even all the way around, just like that. All right, next we are going to die cut. So we're going to use the Thoughtful Wishes dies, the small little flower, and this one right here kind of has leaves and flowers on it. So this one you're going to need a die cut in the Mossy Meadow. Make sure I have my scrap piece. Here we go. This is my scrap piece. You're going to die cut this one. And then the Petunia Pop, you're going to need 2 of these flowers. I'm just setting them here so that you know, put those there. And we're also going to need 2 circles. The circles are from the Spotlight on Nature, using 2 different ones here. One with the lines on it, and that one is the 4th one, 4th largest. And then this other one with dots and dashes, and that one is actually the smallest 2nd one there. So those are the 2 circles. And you'll need the larger one in Lost Lagoon. So a larger circle, and then the smaller one in your basic white scrap. So go ahead and die cut all of those. I have already done that. Every time I try to die cut on camera, it doesn't turn out so well. Blocks the camera view, so I went ahead and die cut them ahead of time. And this is what you should have. Small circle, a big one, 2 Petunia Pop flowers, and then the Mossy Meadow flower. So we're going to go ahead and adhere this Mossy Meadow flower to our card. Now when I do these, you'll see here, these are not glued down towards the top. It gives them a little bit of texture and allows them to move a little bit so it's not so stiff and flat on the card. So, oh, I can't pick it back up here. So I'm just going to put glue in the lower 2/3 of this piece and leave that upper part free. See, only putting the glue down towards the bottom. Also allows me to hang on to it better without getting glue on my fingers. All right, so no particular place really, just kind of a guess here. It's just gonna go right there on that side. And then our 2 flowers, same thing. I'm not going to put glue on the flower. I'll put it on the leaf and then further down. So this one, I'm going to put over here on this side. I did get it on my fingers after all. And same with this one, a little glue down there on the side, on the bottom rather. And this one, I'm going to put a little bit lower, like that. We're going to end up putting a big circle here, so it doesn't matter that these are all covered or that they're a little sticky right there. That's fine. All right, put this away for a minute. Next, we're going to do this piece right here. So you're going to need that other piece of DSP and your last piece of Mossy Meadow. We're going to glue that right on top. So go ahead and adhere those pieces together. And then you're going to need a pencil and a ruler, because So we're going to have to cut this piece. And just moving that around a little bit. There we go. So you should have a nice even border around all 4 sides. I'm just going to put this one right on top of here for a minute. Then you're going to flip your card over. Straight over like that. So you don't want to turn it upside down or anything, just flip it straight over. And you're going to take your pencil and your ruler, and you're going to measure down from the left side, from the top down, measure to the 1/2 inch mark and make a line. And then you're going to measure up at the top and make a mark at the 1.5 inch mark. Just like so. Hopefully you can see it here. So there's a line right there and then a line right there. Now you're going to take your paper trimmer, and I apologize, you'll probably see the glare on the trimmer from the light. There's really nothing I can do about that. But you're going to open it up and you're going to line up those 2 marks in your cutting rail here. And making sure I get it in there perfectly where I want it. There we go. And you're just going to make that cut. Cut off that little piece. Then you're going to turn it. This is where our little mark is up here at the top. We're going to use that mark again, and we're going to cut to the bottom right corner. So you're going to put your mark in your little groove there, and the corner in the groove. Then you're going to cut again. So get this out of the way. So this is what your piece should look like now. Put this little guy here. So we cut off this piece first, and then we cut off this large piece right here. And these pieces you don't need, so we're going to throw those away. And this is the piece that we're needing. So this piece should line up perfectly with the top of your card and the side of your card. And that's exactly where it's going to go. Right there like that. We're just going to use regular multi-purpose liquid glue again. And going to line it up again. Put it right where it needs to go. And it's even going to overlap some of these flowers. There. So far so good, right? Pretty easy. Next we're going to stamp our sentiment here. So you're going to need your Mossy Meadow ink pad again. And the sentiment is from the Comforting Thoughts stamp set. This one is a current stamp set. It says wishing you comfort. So I'm going to use that for the front of my card. If you don't have this one, as long as you have something that fits inside this circle, then you should be good. So I'm going to ink that one up. Now it is a tight fit in the circle. So you have to watch and make sure that you get it in there perfectly centered and not out of the circle. There we go. So we're going to adhere this to our larger circle. Just like so. And we're going to flip it over, just like we did that bigger piece. Flip it over like that. And you're going to apply some either Stampin' Seal or Stampin' Seal Plus. over here to the right hand side, and you're going to get a piece of the Wild Wheat rustic striped ribbon. It's really pretty. Got a lot of air in between the two, and in between the middle there. And you need a 5-inch piece of that. So go ahead and cut a 5-inch piece of your ribbon. I have one right here that I already cut. Cut it diagonal. And you're going to fold it in two. Not perfectly in two. You kind of want it sticking out from one another. So, oops, I got it upside down. There we go. So fold it in two like that with some space in the middle. You're going to pick up your circle, and that's going to go to the left-hand side there. So you're going to stick that ribbon in that glue that you just put on the back. And we're going to flip this over, and we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of that. And what I like to do with my dimensionals, anytime I have a die cut or a ribbon, I use the dimensional to kind of hold it in place as well, kind of a backup, if you would, just to make sure it doesn't come off. So I'll put one in the center too. So I actually have 3 holding that in place for me. And I'll peel off my backs. And then this one is just going to cover up this corner here. Make sure I don't get it too high. Depending on where you have your flowers placed, you don't want to cover them up. So we'll lower this one a little bit. And stick that in place there, our dimensionals. And then all we have left are embellishments. So I'm going to be using the Iridescent foil gems. This is actually all I have left of my pack. And what I like to do with my dimensionals is I like to put them in a triangular pattern. So I feel like it gives it some symmetry that way. So I'm going to put a large one right down there. And I'll take another large one and put it over here. And then switch to my little ones here. And to complete this triangle, I'm going to put one up there. So they're in a triangle formation. And that's it. Ta-da! Completed this easy sympathy card. And I appreciate you joining me. If you would be so kind to leave a comment down below on how much you enjoyed this card, or if there's anything you think I can improve, I would appreciate that. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.